Okay, good evening. I'd like to call to order the August 24th, 2021 meeting of the Plan Commission. The time is 7 p.m. I will do the roll call as soon as I find, since you changed the notices, it's harder to find that list of 10
The
people.
bottom.
Okay, so I am Mayor Kim Smith. I am here. Alder Tom Smith,
I'm here.
Jared Holter,
Here.
Jan Brock. Present. Newt Tempe,
Present.
Greg Breitsprecher.
Here.
Here, Gargi.
Present.
And that is everyone. Item 2, consideration and action on the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor by Alder Tom Smith, seconded by Commissioner Newt Tempe to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Aye.
say no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is public input. Anyone who would like to address the Plan Commission this evening, now is the time to do so. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and limit your comment to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to address the Plan Commission this evening? Second call, would anyone like to address the Plan Commission this evening? Do you see anyone online? Third and final call for the public input portion of this meeting. Public input is now closed. We will now have consideration and possible action on the following items. Item 4 is a public hearing to annex lands from the town of Madera and the town of Hamilton to the city of Onalaska, 50.16 acres at the end of Emerald Drive. Portions of tax parcels ID numbers 9-32-0, 7-1356-0, and 7-1357-0. The applicants are the Elmwood Partners Limited Partnership. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this annexation, now is the time to do so.
Kevin Fry, I1 Partners, 1859 Sand Lake Road, Onalaska, Wisconsin, here, and speaking in favor of this annexation. This is abutting the annexation we did a couple months ago, and basically wrapping everything Elmwood has on the northern side of it, wrapping around in the east, partway down the east side of the golf course. I'm going to stop talking now until it's 10 to 9. Anyway, they're here to speak in favor of it. We'll be here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the annexation? Okay, that portion of the hearing is now closed. Now I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the annexation of these lands. Second call for those wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against the annexation. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll turn this matter over to our city planner, Katie Aspenson, for a summary of the issue.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant intends to annex a total of 50.12 acres. This was a conditional approval at the June Plan Commission meeting with the previous preliminary plat application. It's the intent of this developer to donate the land to Mississippi Valley Conservancy to provide green space for the development to the south and west. The subject land is proposed to be zoned to our P2 district for park and open space. City staff have put together 5 conditions of approval for this development.
Thank you for that. With that being said, what is the pleasure of the commission?
I'll make a motion that we approve the annexing the land from the town of Madera and town of Hamilton to the city of Onalaska at the end of Emerald Valley Drive as stated in item agenda number 4. With the 5 conditions. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Tom Smith. Seconded, we'll go with Craig on the line. Craig Breitsprecher, second. Any discussion? Jan.
I have a question, Kevin. Just a quick question too, actually.
This is separate from the parcel that we annexed for the development.
Correct.
Yes, and this is going to be donated to the Mississippi Valley Conservancy. My question is, when you donate something to them, I'm not familiar with that. Does it stay that way for time immemorial?
Once we donate the land, MVC, it's up to them to decide what happens to it.
It's never comes back to development. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? The motion on the floor is to approve the annexation as described with the 5 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
say- Oh, no, opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. Item 5 is a public hearing. This is for a conditional use permit to add 3 antennas and ancillary equipment to the existing telecommunications tower located at 1033 Second Avenue Southwest, Onalaska, Wisconsin, 54650. This is tax parcel ID number 18-939-0, and the applicant is US Cellular and US COC of La Crosse LLC. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this conditional use permit, now is the time to do so. Second call, if anyone would like to speak in favor of this conditional use permit. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. That portion is closed, and I'll now ask if anyone would like to speak against the conditional use permit to add the antennas. Anyone wishing to speak against? Last call for those wishing to speak against. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask our city planner, Katie Aspenson, to do a summary of this issue.
Thank you, Mayor. The current telecommunications structure is a 118-foot tall monopole, and US Cellular is looking to add new equipment and ancillary equipment to this new telecommunications structure. The purpose of the additional antennas is to improve range and quality of service for the area served by the tower. There was a structural analysis report which showed that the existing tower foundation is structurally is able to manage the new proposed improvements. As these structures and towers are permitted only by conditional use permit found in section 13.02.22 per our principal uses table and pursuant to standards set forth in section 13.013.05.22, the city has no basis for denial of the conditional use, but has found the basis to impose the following conditions. Included in the conditions are the substantial evidence that are required for a conditional use permit condition. Condition 1, owner developer shall pay all fees and have all plans reviewed and approved by the city prior to obtaining a building permit. Owner developer must have all conditions satisfied and improvements installed per approved plans prior to issuance of occupancy permits. Substantial evidence. This condition provides notice to the owner developer that they are to follow procedure for orderly development in the city of Onalaska in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the city. Condition number 2, all conditions run with the land and are binding upon the original developer and all heirs, successors, and assigned, so long as the conditional use is being actively used. Substantial evidence. This condition acknowledges and provides public notice of the term and puts the owner developer and future owners on notice that they are bound by the conditions and that they continue to use the use as long as they follow the conditions and actively use the conditional use. Condition number 3, owner developer shall abide by the city's ordinances, Unified Development Code, and Building Code requirements as amended. Substantial evidence. This condition assures that the owner developer understands they must follow the city's Unified Development Code and Building Code, which they are required to follow in every way, and as that they are receiving the benefit of being allowed to have a use that is not within the standards of the city zoning code. Failure to follow city ordinances may result in loss of their conditional use permit. Condition number 4, the conditional use permit shall be reviewed every 5 years to ensure continued use. Substantial evidence. This shifts the burden to the owner of the property to provide proof that the use is active and continuing. Ensuring that the existing permits are still valid and being properly used ensures compliance with the city's procedures and ordinances and promotes interaction and communication with the city, which further the order development, the health and the safety and welfare of the city. Thank you.
Thank you for that. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve with the conditions attached.
I'll second.
Craig, you're just a little slow tonight. We have a motion by Jared Coulter, seconded by Tom Smith to approve the conditional use permit, adding the 3 antennas with the 4 conditions as Katie Aspenson read into the record. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 6 is a public hearing for a conditional use permit to remove 3 antennas and ancillary equipment and replace with 6 antennas and 6 remote radio units, RRUs, on the existing telecommunications tower located at 1108 Venture Place on Alaska, Wisconsin, 54650. This is tax parcel ID number 18-2406-0. The applicant in this case is T-Mobile and Bond Rentals LLC. I'll now open the public hearing and ask for people wishing to speak in favor of this conditional use permit.
Hi, good evening. My name is Eric Greenfield. I'm here remotely on behalf of T-Mobile. I'm with SBA Network Services. We are the owner of the tower structure. I'm here to answer any questions related to this proposal. That's all that I have for now, unless there's future questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Did you get the name and address, okay? For the record? Eric Greenfield. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this conditional use permit? Third and final call for those wishing to speak in favor. Not seeing or hearing any, I'll close that and ask for people wishing to speak against. Anyone wishing to speak against the conditional use permit located for the antennas located at Venture Place? Third and final call for those wishing to speak against. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll turn it over to our city planner, Katie Aspenson, for a summary of the issue.
Thank you, Mayor. The telecommunications structure is an 89-foot monopole with 3 antenna and 3 TMUs. T-Mobile is proposing to remove the existing antenna and replace with 6 new antennas and 6 RRUs. Currently, all of the equipment serving this tower is within a stealth concealment canister, which will not fit the proposed additions. T-Mobile is proposing to remove the canister and replace it with the traditional monopole section that you see on telecommunications throughout the remainder of the city. The cabinets and other ancillary equipment will also be removed and replaced to service the new antenna. The proposed design will not result in changes to the tower height or increased size of the overall tower. The applicant states that adding this additional equipment is needed to meet increased demand and will improve the range and quality of service for the area served by the tower. To note that the structural analysis report is prepared by Tower Engineering Solutions, showed that portions of the existing tower foundation do not meet loading requirements and modifications are needed in order to safely support the existing and proposed equipment. Therefore, staff has added a condition of approval associated with that, requiring that the applicant do everything they need in order to make sure that the tower is safe. Below are the 5 conditions of approval, and there's substantial evidence that I will read into the record. Condition number 1, owner developer shall pay all fees and have all plans reviewed and approved by the city prior to obtaining a building permit. Owner developer must have all conditions satisfied and improvements installed per approved plans prior to issuance of occupancy permits. Substantial evidence. This condition provides notice to the owner developer that they are to follow procedure for orderly development in the city of Onalaska in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the city. Condition number 2, applicant to perform necessary modifications indicated in the structural analysis packet provided to ensure public safety. Substantial evidence. This condition acknowledges the documentation provided by the applicant that the tower in its current capacity cannot manage the proposed modifications without completing required modifications to the tower. In order to allow the proposed project to move forward, the applicant shall complete the required modifications noted in the structural analysis packet. Condition number 3, all conditions run with the land and are binding upon the original developer and all heirs, successors, and assigns, so long as the conditional use is being actively used. Substantial evidence. This condition acknowledges and provides public notice of the term and puts the owner, developer, and future owners on notice that they are bound by the conditions and that they can continue the use as long as they follow the conditions and actively use the conditional use. Condition number 4, owner developer shall abide by the city's ordinances, Unified Development Code, and Building Code requirements as amended. Substantial evidence. This condition assures that the owner developer understands that they shall follow the city's Unified Development Code and Building Code, which they are required to follow in every way, and as that they are receiving the benefit of being allowed to have a use that is not within the standards of the city zoning code. Failure to follow city ordinances may result in loss of their conditional use permit. Condition number 5, the conditional use permit shall be reviewed every 5 years to ensure continued use. Substantial evidence. This shifts the burden to the owner of the property to provide proof that the use is active and continuing. Ensuring the existing permits are still valid and being properly used ensures compliance with the city's procedures and ordinances and promotes interaction and communication with the city, which further orderly development and the health, safety, and welfare of the city. City staff have put together the noted 5 conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you for that. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit requested by T-Mobile at 1108 Venture Place as stated in agenda item number 6 with the 5 conditions.
Second.
Motion by Tom, seconded by Craig to approve the conditional use permit as described with the 5 conditions. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 7 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Tom, seconded by Craig to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, 7:20.